You'll be shocked when you find out what Candace Owens did at the college debate on feminism. A lot of people are talking about this topic, and we're going to touch on it today. Let's get to the bottom of it together.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. So I noticed you had a lot of thoughts on feminism. I'm a feminist, but
Totally fine.
I was just wondering, how do you differentiate between the extremism that exists in feminism, as it does across, multiple different ideologies, but how do you differentiate between the extremism and how, feminists like me think? I don't hate men.
It's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it.
How do you?
That's a really good question. In America, the women's movement is seen as effective, achieving its goals. But it came about organically. Women protested, staged rallies, burned bras, fought for their rights, and the idea of equal rights here sprouted in heads, consciousness, and mentality. This movement simply means equality and balance between men and women.
It's a great, great question. So what you have to realize about the left when you talk about extremism is they hack words that once had real meaning, and they take them for their own nefarious goals, right? So they'll say racism, and you'll go, oh my God, no, really, racism used to exist, but now it means organizing your pantry. That's obviously not racism. That's completely ridiculous. You see something like feminism, and once upon a time, women were fighting for the right to vote. Well, now we have that. We have equal footing, and now they're using those terms. They're hiding behind the shield of feminism, and they're doing actually horrible things in society. And I blame feminists for almost every ill that we have right now, because they've encouraged people not to act as a woman, and they bash men all the time. And I think that they have contributed the most to the breakdown of family in terms of an ideology. Now, for you,
Answer my question.
no, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Now, for you, you're like, okay, but I actually am somebody that just believes in equality, that there should be equality between the sexes, right?
Oh my God, she's so right. Nowadays, most people use the feminist screen to make a profit. It really used to be a protest for women to have a voice, and now things are better and everyone seems to have the right to have a voice in the job they want. The problems with non-feminist women still exist, and it's weird.
I think it's more culturally and socially, not necessarily in the realm of legality.
Sure, so I'm going to ask you, what is it socially, so you could call yourself something, right? That means that there's some fight that you have. What is it socially that you and I have as women that we don't have that men do? Why is there a need for you to be a feminist?
I think as women, we are undervalued when it comes to our intelligence. I think people, especially for me, as a woman who, I'm sorry, what you said?
Go ahead, let her talk.
For me, as a woman, I feel like a lot of people look at me and think I'm superficial. They think I'm vapid. They don't necessarily see that I could be intelligent, that I could speak for myself. They tend to automatically...
Guys, don't be rude. Go ahead.
I tend to get belittled a lot, and that comes from men, not necessarily women, right?
So you're saying in your personal capacity, men are belittling you, right? But when you talk about affecting actually a social change, this might be your personal experience.
Candace got the right question. Why is it so necessary for you to be a feminist right now? To which the student says that she is underappreciated at the expense of being seen as not smart enough. In this day and age, you can appear and you can be. I'm not implying anything, but I think it's just an excuse for the weak. This girl's arguments are weak, and she can't really explain why she's moving.
But does that mean that all women are going through this, or that all women are experiencing this belittlement by men?
And see, I understand that, but I think also when I listen to you speak, and you speak on why you don't like feminism, I hear a lot of anecdotal work, and I hear a lot of personal experience, like your experience in that one class that you had, whereas I've had 5-6 classes in my gender studies courses,
right,
and I've never experienced anything
that's totally
like
fine.
that.
That's
ever.
totally fine.
You know
Guys,
what I mean?
They're
So
just
I just don't
laughing
feel like it's
because
fair to
obviously
take personal
it's totally
experience
fine. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm actually talking about the real world consequences of the dangerous ideology telling women that they have to take their clothes off, that they should be on TikTok. I'm talking about real world consequences.
Yeah,
I'm talking
like
about literally the fact that women are no longer, they're by and large all climbing the corporate ladder, and that children are being ceded over to the state. So I was giving you an anecdotal example of what happened in my feminist class, but the repercussions of that are seen everywhere. What I am saying is that what I'm offering to you is not to feel like you have to give yourself an ism, right? Don't feel like you have to put yourself in a box. Don't feel like you have to put yourself into some weird social constructs. I think that what you'll find with time is that it constrains you unnecessarily. I don't have a problem with the fact if you want to identify as a feminist and you think that there is some fight that needs to be ended. I don't personally think that that's...
She's right. Maybe she's just put herself in a box and she's trying to get out of it. Why is it that in a place where you can do the same things as others, you're brought in and, as you say, considered not smart? The answer is simple. You put yourself in a frame and try to fight it when you don't need to fight it at all.
Conservatism not a box any more than feminism is?
Well, saying that I have conservative principles, feminism is not being a conservative or being a liberal, right? You're talking about an ideology, right? A system you think
I would assume conservatism is also an ideology as well, is it not?
Sure. Conservatism is an ideology. These are the things that we believe. You could say that everything is an ideology. What I'm saying to you is that I would not necessarily paint yourself into a corner. You don't seem to me like you have any issues speaking up. You don't seem to me like you feel like you're constrained in any way. You're standing up here today. I would offer to you that there's never been a more remarkable time to be a woman in this society. By every statistic, we are doing better than men. That's a fact, right? Men have we are graduating at a higher rate than men. Men have higher suicide rates. That's why I said to you, despite how you're feeling, what are the real world implications that suggest to you that you are somehow beneath men? You might have a personal experience where a man
we can talk about sexual assault everywhere, in the military, in the home.
So are these the things that you're fighting to end sexual assault?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, great. You don't have to be a feminist to fight to end sexual assault.
You don't have to be,
men and women.
It turned out to be much simpler than that. I would just advise the girl to sort herself out and her needs. Owens said the right thing. You don't have to be a feminist to fight this problem. Statistically, women live longer, have a higher tendency to be intellectually active, and are superior to men. So what can they fight against now? What do you think about that? Write your opinion in the comments, and don't forget to watch other shocking news on the channel.